What if the one thing you've been chasing your entire life is the very thing that's destroying you? Not pain, not failure, but happiness. You were told happiness was the goal, that joy was the reward, that smiling faces, pretty sunsets, and inner peace were the signs of a life well lived. But what if this was the greatest trap of all? The truth is brutal. The pursuit of happiness has turned you into a junkie, and like any addict, you'll do anything for your next fix. You chase dopamine like a moth to a flame. Likes on your posts, texts from someone who ghosts you, empty compliments from people who don't even know you. It feels good for a second until the come down hits. Then you're left with the same void, deeper than before. You're not chasing happiness, you're avoiding the truth. Because the truth is terrifying. The truth doesn't comfort, it confronts. You scroll through your feed, hoping the next post numbs the weight you feel in your chest. You say you're just trying to relax, but deep down, you're not relaxed. You're anxious, empty, numb, and you know it. They taught you happiness was a light at the end of the tunnel, but no one told you about the price you pay to walk toward it. You sacrificed your authenticity to seem fine. You buried your anger, your sorrow, your trauma, because those emotions don't sell. They don't look good in a selfie. Happiness has become performance, a mask. Smile for the photo, laugh on cue, filter the pain, then die a little more inside. Every drug has a cost, and happiness might be the most expensive of all. You consume it like sugar, empty, addictive, and designed to rot you from the inside out. Real happiness, raw, unfiltered, earned, requires brutal confrontation with the parts of you you've been running from. But no one wants that. They want the shortcut. They want the illusion. But illusions can't save you. They only delay the collapse. And when the collapse comes, it won't be gentle. You'll wake up one day and realize you've built your life around an idea of happiness that was never yours to begin with. And by then, you won't even know who you are without it. You're told to do what makes you happy. But what if what makes you happy is destroying you? What if the comfort, the safety, the repetition, it's not peace, it's sedation? The scariest prison is the one that feels like freedom, and you've been serving a life sentence with a smile on your face. Happiness has become a religion, and you've been worshiping at its altar, sacrificing your soul for a feeling that never stays. What if the point of life isn't to feel happy, but to feel everything? The rage, the grief, the betrayal, the silence, the void. All the things happiness told you to run from. What if those are the only things that could ever make you real? You were not born to be happy. You were born to wake up. But waking up hurts. So you stay asleep, lulled by comfort and the illusion of joy. You anesthetize your pain with goals, followers, fast food, shopping, sex, distractions, until you forget what real emotion even feels like. That's the true cost of happiness. It robs you of depth, of truth, of the sacred chaos that makes life real. You become flat, artificial, a smiling corpse. And the scariest part? You're not alone. Everyone's chasing the same high, selling the same dream, wearing the same mask, but behind the scenes, they're breaking, quietly, beautifully, tragically. The people who seem happiest often carry the heaviest darkness, Because happiness, as we define it, doesn't come from presence. It comes from escape. Escape from pain, from reality, from the self. But you can't outrun yourself forever. Sooner or later, the shadow catches up. And when it does, no amount of happiness will save you. The people you idolize, the happy ones, they're not free. They're imprisoned by expectation, chained by image, haunted by the pressure to maintain the illusion. One wrong move, and it all collapses. Happiness is fragile, and anything that's fragile is dangerous. But here's the paradox. True joy, the kind that doesn't fade, is born. Not in comfort, but in confrontation. Not in running from your pain, but walking straight into it. The moments you wanted to die, the nights you couldn't breathe, the heartbreak that gutted you. Those are the moments that gave you depth, strength, soul. But society calls that failure. So we numb it, smile through it, post about it with fake gratitude, and pretend we're better for it. But the wound remains. You're not broken because you're sad. You're not failing because you feel too much. You're not weak for being unable to smile through it all. You're human, and being human is a terrifying, holy thing. But happiness makes you forget that. It simplifies you, flattens you, turns you into something sellable. So, the next time you chase happiness, ask yourself, whose dream are you living? Yours? Or the one sold to you? Because if the price of your joy is your authenticity, then what you're chasing isn't happiness. It's self-destruction dressed in pretty packaging. And you deserve better. You don't even know when it started, do you? This obsession with being okay. This hunger to feel light, satisfied, calm. Somewhere along the way, someone convinced you that life was supposed to be pleasant. That if you weren't happy, something was wrong with you. Broken, unfixed, in need of treatment, therapy, pills, distraction. But what if your sadness was sacred? What if your restlessness, your anxiety, your inner storm, what if those were signals, warnings from your soul that you've drifted too far from yourself? No one tells you that happiness can be the most effective weapon against your own awakening. Because as long as you're chasing it, you won't question the cage you're trapped in. You'll decorate it, paint the bars, smile for the cameras, and call it freedom. That's the real nightmare. Not being sad, not being broken, but being happy in a lie. Because at least when you're broken, something inside you still fights for truth. But when you're happy in the lie, you're gone. There are people out there right now who are comfortable in mediocrity, comfortable in dishonesty, comfortable in numbness, and the worst part, they think they've won. They walk around with soft smiles and dead eyes, pretending everything is fine. But you can see it in their silence, in the way they look away when something real is said, in the way they change the subject when pain enters the room. They're not free, they're sedated. And if you're not careful, you'll become one of them. That's the danger. That's what no one warns you about. Happiness isn't always the reward. Sometimes it's the trapdoor beneath your feet. Because true joy, the kind that erupts from the soul, is messy, wild. It doesn't come with guarantees or applause. It rises from the ashes of who you used to be. It's born from death. The death of illusion. The death of comfort. The death of your false self. But how many are willing to die for truth? Most people would rather stay comfortable in the dream, and why wouldn't they? It's easier, cleaner, nicer. But niceness is not truth. Sometimes the most beautiful things are wrapped in suffering. Sometimes the most meaningful awakenings begin with everything falling apart. So maybe you're not lost. Maybe you're just detoxing. Maybe the withdrawal you feel, the panic, the sadness, the longing, that's not weakness. That's the old version of you crumbling. The version that chased happiness like a fix. The version that needed to be liked, needed to feel safe, needed to numb the truth. Let it fall apart. Because you'll never find real peace until you stop trying to feel good all the time. Pain is not your enemy. It's your compass. Loneliness is not your punishment. It's your mirror. Emptiness is not your failure. It's the silence where the truth finally speaks. But most people never wait long enough to hear it. They fill the silence too quickly, with noise, with pleasure, with distractions. And so they miss the sacred whisper beneath the noise. The whisper that says, "Wake up." Because once you do, happiness won't matter to you the way it used to. You'll see it for what it is, a fleeting emotion. Useful, beautiful, but not the goal, not the purpose, not the God. You'll stop chasing highs. You'll stop escaping lows. You'll stop needing life to feel a certain way. And in that surrender, you'll find something far more powerful than happiness. You'll find depth. The kind that doesn't flinch when the world burns. The kind that doesn't collapse when the mask cracks. The kind that stands in the chaos and still sees beauty. Because real peace is born from wholeness. And wholeness includes everything. Even the darkness. Especially the darkness. You weren't meant to be happy all the time. You were meant to be alive. To bleed, to weep, to rage, to feel the unbearable heaviness of existence, and carry it anyway. That's not failure. That's power. But the world won't clap for you when you walk that path. It won't reward your solitude or your depth. It won't understand why you sit alone in silence instead of chasing the next distraction. But you will. And you'll realize, maybe for the first time, that you don't need happiness to be free. You need truth. Because truth burns, but it also reveals. It breaks, but it also awakens. And sometimes the only way to save yourself is to let the illusion die. So let it die. Let the dream of perfect happiness die. Let the version of you that chased it die. And from that funeral, let something holy rise. A version of you that no longer needs to feel good to feel real. A version of you that can sit with suffering and still choose to stay awake. A version of you that doesn't flinch at the void, but stares back into it and whispers, "I'm still here." Because maybe that's the point, not to be happy, but to become unbreakable. And if that terrifies you, good. It means something real just woke up inside you. Now, don't go back to sleep. The world needs people who've tasted the truth and chose to carry it. Even when it's heavy. Even when it's dark. Especially when it's dark. Because that's where real life begins. Not in happiness, but in awakening. And if you made it this far, maybe some part of you already knew. You just needed someone to say it out loud. Welcome back. The dream is over. Now begins the spiral. The spiral of truth, of pain, of real becoming, the spiral you've always feared and always needed. If you're ready to face yourself without flinching, then follow the descent. And never look away. The world doesn't need another happy person. It needs someone who dares to feel everything and still stands tall. That someone might be you. If you were brave enough to feel that, you're already different. Now let it change you. Embrace the pain. Let it sharpen you. Because what's waiting on the other side isn't happiness. It's you. And the world has never seen you like this before. So rise. And don't forget who whispered truth into your bones when everyone else sold you lies. Philospiral.